and click the record button. So we're recording now. So thank you guys so much, families, for a successful first week, first of all. There's a huge learning curve for everybody here, but we really, really appreciate all of the work that you guys did behind the scenes to make this successful for our kids. I know I've said it a bunch of times, but the only way that we will be able to make, virtual learning successful is by working as a team. So we wanted to call this meeting today to talk about some of the things that we need to know looking forward for next week. So next week we are going to be starting our first assessments for kindergarten. So we're going to start out with our language arts baseline assessment, and this year we're doing it through the Scholastic Literacy Pro app, which is located on Clever. So I thought we'd go over kind of logging into Clever and navigating that first, so that you guys know kind of what that looks like. And then we're going to shift to some, reminders and tips and tricks to help your kid be more successful in navigating all of the online things that we're going to be doing. So I'm going to share my screen in a moment to make sure that you guys can access Clever. Who has already accessed Clever? I know a couple people in my class have accessed it. This is going to be a review for you guys, but we did want to make sure that all of our families can access this, so that Monday and Tuesday go a lot smoother for trying to log all of our kiddos into this program as we get ready for our assessment period. So when you go to Clever, which there is a link on your child's Chromebook. So it's not the same as my computer, but just about here on your child's Chromebook, there is a Hampton City Schools bookmarks tab. So if you click that, there should be Clever on there. I don't know why it's misspelled on mine. I didn't do that, but yours might say Cleve, but it might say Clever. You never know. So you're going to access Clever through there. If there is no tab there, I know that I've put it on my Google Classroom. It's a website that you can access, and all the teachers will make sure that that's on Google Classroom in addition, just in case it's not, for whatever reason, bookmarked on your child's Chromebook. But we were told that all of those important tabs would already be bookmarked for your child. So in the corner, the right-hand corner of Clever, it'll say log in as a student. So you will do that, and you'll log in with your child's Google information. And there's a good chance that you don't have to go through all of this stuff. So I'm actually going to use a child's login here. Don't judge my typing skills in case I make a typo, everybody. It's a lot of pressure. So you might have to put in your child's password, but then, great. Clever will load. Now the teachers, the kindergarten teachers are going to be going through and favoriting some of the apps that you will be using most often. So don't be surprised this weekend if you've logged in once and then you go back in and the apps are in a different order. That just means not that your child's identity was stolen, but that your child's teacher has gone through just to make things a little bit easier for you. So the Scholastic app that we're going to use is this red square with the white book on it that says Scholastic. So you're just going to click into that, and that is it. Because your teacher has already assigned your child to do the assessment when they're logged in. And so it should pop up with a screen that looks like this. And it'll say, welcome to Literacy Pro.
Welcome to Literacy Pro.
When you start,
you're going to find lots of great books to read and fun things to do.
To
help Literacy Pro find just the right books for you, show what you know about some letters, sounds, and words.
Okay, so that's it's going to keep talking until I close it down. So there's no pause button. So the assessment will read every question to your child. And the children's Chromebooks, I'm sure as you know by now, are touchscreen. So all they have to do is touch their answer. So we do want to make sure that it's the children's answers and not, any older kids or parents' answers in the background. So please, 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 if you need to, you can leave the room during your child's assessment time, because it's really, really hard. And we, as teachers, we understand how hard it is to not help your child, but we really do need to get an accurate baseline for how much your child knows. And so it'll go through letter recognition, it'll go through letter sounds, it'll go through some words, but it will stop your child automatically before they get frustrated, or as soon as the software senses that your child is getting frustrated. So just let them go, let them do their best. We will be on Zoom at the same time, so we will be able to speak to your child during that assessment time, but we will not be able to do anything, on your child's computer at that time, if that makes sense. So does anybody have any questions about Literacy Pro or the assessment before we switch it up? Feel free to unmute yourselves if you have a question. Okay. And also, I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Mrs. Williams. I'm one of the 4 kindergarten teachers here. Sorry, I just jumped right in. So as other folks chime in to speak, if you guys could introduce yourselves, that would be great. So I'm actually going to turn it over to our friend, Miss Lewis, and I'm going to share my screen because she's going to go over some of the Zoom rules with us, just to make sure that we're all on the same page for the Zoom rules. Okay, so I'm going to mute myself, Miss Lewis, so you can take over.
Okay, as Mrs. Williams says, I am Miss Lewis, another kindergarten teacher, and we wanted you to kind of see the rules that we talk to the students about. We've gone over these rules every day, so we wanted you to know what they are and what they look like when we're talking to our kids about it. So on the left there at the top, you see use the restroom first. So we've asked them to use the restroom first before they come to class. We do realize that during class, they may have to still use the restroom, and we've come up with different procedures. Some of us are giving restroom breaks. Some of us are using signals that the kids use so that they're not interrupting class. They're not shouting out, "Oh, I need to go to the restroom." They just go, or we give them a break and they just go and they come back. We've talked to them about not taking their Chromebooks to the restroom with them. In fact, about not taking their Chromebooks anywhere else. We don't want them to walk around the house with their Chromebooks and maybe expose them that they shouldn't see. It is your house, and we realize that, that we're coming into your personal space, but it's also classroom for them. So we know it's hard and it's going to take some getting used to, but again, it's class for them, and we're saying that to them over and over and over again. The next thing to the right at the top is sitting up in your chair. This also has been something that we've noticed that some of our scholars may have had a little problem with. We know that they're not all using chairs, and that's great. That's fine. If they are sitting on the bed and that's the best place for them, that's okay. But we want them to maybe sit against the wall on the bed, so they're not rolling around in the bed, that they're not under their sleeping bag in the bed. Because again, we want them to see this as you are coming to class. 8 o'clock, you sit down and you're in a kindergarten class, even if it happens to be on the Zoom format. So we really need you all to reinforce that with us. So if they're in a room on their bed, because that's the best place for them, before you walk away from them, say to them, remember, don't put all your stuffed animals on the bed and play with them during class. Sit up. If you're on the floor, sit crisscross applesauce. Don't stand above your computer and flip over. You might break it, and you need to, again, be looking at the screen and watching your teacher. Now the next one in the middle to the left is be ready to learn. And that's real important because that involves a lot of things, and we've been talking to the kindergartners about what that looks like. So that means that you've eaten breakfast in the morning. For 8 o'clock class, when you come, So you might wake up late. We understand that sometimes, but if at all possible, have them to eat before. We know 3 hours is a long time, and they may need a snack, but that's okay. But sitting with a bag of something in front of you or a bowl and eating during class the whole time, well, that's not good. Okay, because we want them to be able to focus. There's a lot that they need to learn. It's not the ideal situation, but it's what we have. So we are just trying to encourage them in any way possible. Getting ready to learn also has to do with the location and your backdrop. I have a wall behind me. If you look at Mrs. Williams' screen, you see other things behind her. So if your child's in a room and someone else is in the room, let's say they're in the living room and there's a television and everything, try to turn it toward the wall. Okay, in fact, in my house, I usually sit right in front of my closet because there's down a lot of stuff going on. So if it's a small space, try to turn them toward the wall so that we don't see everything that's going around, that the other students don't see everything, and you don't feel like we're invading your space. Because again, we know it is your house, but it's also their classroom. So if you can turn them away with their back to something like a wall or door or something, so they're ready to learn. Getting ready to learn also means that they bring those supplies. So those backpacks with those pencils and papers that they're going to need, whatever other supplies they have. So have them ready. Don't go through them. Don't take everything out. But as we tell them, we have your supplies, your crayons, your papers ready. So when your teachers say, take out your notebook, take out your journal, that they have it ready. They don't have to go look for it. Okay. And then when class is over, to put those things back in their backpacks. So they have them for the next day. And again, we are going over these things every day, but we really need you all to reinforce it with them. We talk to them about, keeping your hands and feet to yourself. Yes, on Zoom, because many of them have your brothers or sisters and cousins in the house, so you're not wrestling with your sister. Your brother who is in 5th grade shouldn't be over at you, in front of you and on screen with you. So doing all those things at home to try and reinforce it. Yes, this is hard. It's going to take some getting used to. But if you can put them somewhere and talk to them about what's appropriate for the camera, what isn't appropriate for the camera. Like when they come dressed, like they may not realize it, but they start to take off their shirt because they're hot and they're in front of the camera, then everybody can see that. So talking to them about, so getting dressed, you sit here, it's time to listen to your teacher and just saying it over and over again. Reminding them that we do hear everything, and I know that's kind of hard sometimes, but the sound is amplified in Zoom room. So sometimes we have to mute them. It is amplified, so it can be really loud. So and try to sit them somewhere where it's a little quieter. Again, we know it's difficult. It's difficult for students who are at daycare. So we're trying to manage that. But if all possible, try to find the quietest place in your house for them to sit. So, because again, we're saying this is school. When we come back to the building, we want them ready to go. So they really need to work on listening and following our directions while they're in the Zoom classroom. And if you have any questions for us, you aren't sure about things, please, reach out to us. But just having you to reinforce those skills, like appropriate dress, appropriate things to say in the Zoom classroom, that would be great. And just thanks for all you do. And Mrs. Langley's up next, and she's going to go over a couple things with you about the Zoom buttons.
So we talked about, Ms. Lewis mentioned about the muting and everything. And that, like she was saying, we can hear, like if you have other scholars in the same room doing their work, we can hear all of that. So if you can make sure they're using their headphones so that they can hear what we're saying, but if there's someone else in the room, we can't hear all the classrooms going on. We can mute your child, but they have to unmute themselves. So we have found out that with your permission, we can unmute them. Sometimes your children are having trouble, when we ask a question, they'll talk and they'll forget to unmute themselves. So with your permission, if I ask your child a question, then I can unmute them so I can hear them. I know one of the parents in one of my sessions yesterday was having a hard time hearing because one of the other scholars was kept unmuting themselves, and they had a lot going on in their home. And so the other scholars in the classroom were having a hard time hearing what was going on. So it might not seem like much to you, but even if the washing machine's going on, someone's vacuuming, and if your child's unmuted, we can hear all of that. If you're talking to your spouse or your friend or another student, we can hear all of that. So just remember anytime your child's unmuted, you have to try to keep the rest of the area as quiet as you can, because not only is it distracting to your own child, but it's distracting to the whole classroom. Kind of think of it, if you wouldn't say it, if you came to visit our classroom here at Tyler, then you shouldn't say it while we're in the Zoom classroom, because that involves everyone's children. And same goes with what you're wearing. If you wouldn't wear it to visit us at school and walk in our classroom, we can see it, we can hear it. So we know it is your home, just like Ms. Lewis said, and you have a right to wear and say what you want in your home. But during school time, it's now our classroom. So putting your child with their back to the wall will help with us seeing if someone is walking around. But just keep those things in mind, please.
Thank you, Ms. Langley. So I'm going to have a couple of our other folks in the meeting introduce themselves and say what they would like to say. So I'm going to start with Dr. Johnson. If you want to introduce yourself, I guess I just introduced you. You can do it again.
You did a great job. Yes, thank you, Ms. Williams and kindergarten team and parents. It is super to get a chance to meet with you and just connect. I know we've had a fantastic first couple days. I will also add, we've had an exhausting and just figuring out what works and doesn't kind of period with our families and kids. So I do want to give kudos to parents for prioritizing their children's education and making sure they're in the Zoom sessions. But also I want to give a big shout out to the staff for learning kind of what works and doesn't work quickly with kids in this format. So it takes a lot of energy and a lot of moving parts, and we have to do this together. There's no question to be effective. And so I love the fact that we're able to meet like this and talk about what's working and what's not. And ultimately, this is going to be an ongoing conversation. We do not expect this to be just, okay, here's the way to do it, and this is the way it's going to be. But this is a fluid system that we want to work together to make sure it's the best system for your kids here at Tyler. So I do want you to hear that. That's the message that we are pushing, because ultimately, in the day, we all want the kids to master the content and become ready kindergarten for first grade and whichever grade you're moving on to for that next grade level here at Tyler. So please note, we are flexible, and we also, though, in the same conversation, want to tell you, hey, there's some best practices that we want to say, these are some great things to work on with your family, with your kids, so we can make sure we're all learning together. So that's really what I have to say. Miss Onide and myself, Assistant Principal Onide, she'll announce herself in just a second. I just wanted you guys to know our doors are always open. Our emails are always open. We have a ton of stuff. Let me advertise a little bit. We have a ton of stuff on our Tyler website, which Ms. Killian hosts and keeps that together, who's our family engagement specialist, as well as we have a YouTube channel, and all the cool kids are subscribing to the Tyler YouTube channel. So please jump on board. There's a lot of videos. We'll have announcements every day on there that you can watch. Just kind of keep up to date with what's happening at Tyler Elementary School, and of course newsletters, and we're pushing that stuff out. But please check out our Tyler website for a fantastic bunch of resources. This year we have a special character chat curriculum that we'll be working on 15 minutes a day with your child, and that whole entire curriculum is outlined on our website that you can check under the parent resources. So please take a look at that. I think there's some great things happening that we want you to know and be a part of here at Tyler. Miss Onide. Can I pass that on to her, Miss Williams? Would that be okay to say? Yep, Miss Onide. Let's see who you are.
I am Miss Onide. Thank you, Dr. Johnson. I am so proud to serve here at Tyler. And first, let me just say, welcome, new Tigers. We are so thrilled to have you and your children here with us. You all have been blessed to be with such an amazing K team. They are superstars. And I think it's great that we are starting to have this chat about what to do on Zoom, what not to do on Zoom, so that things can run smoothly. I'm not going to repeat much of what Dr. Johnson shared. He always takes my talking points. But yes, please know that we are here. If you need any type of support, we are here. So just call us, send us a chat. We will do what we can to support you and your children because we want them to be successful, and they will be successful. So please just stay in touch via all of the platforms that we have here at Tyler. I'm just really pumped up to see what this year is going to bring. I know that we are starting it off in a very untraditional way, but I know that we're still going to keep instruction at the forefront. And so I'm going to stop talking because I'm going to now pass the mic to the most fabulous family engagement specialist there is, and that is Miss Killian. Take it away, Miss Killian.
Okay, can you introduce me at all my meetings from now on? Because
I sure will.
Way to fill me up on a Friday. I want to first officially say hello to you kindergarten parents. I would say a good chunk of you I maybe haven't met before if this is your first child in school. I remember my now 12-year-old in just a couple weeks when he started kindergarten, what a big transition that was. And that was in normal life. So I can't imagine what it's like to transition a child into school when school looks like it does right now. So first and foremost, my hat's off to each of you as you try to navigate this craziness that we're living in and what school looks like. But I will tell you that the team of teachers that you have here is absolutely fantastic. You guys are very fortunate to work with such an attentive team who really cares about their parents and wants to make sure that they're on board and really understand what's going on in the classroom. So I am, like Ms. Onide said, the family engagement specialist. So what that means is basically my job is to serve as a link. So I make sure that our link is strong between our community partners, between our school staff, and between our parents, and making sure that those three things work together, because as we all know, it takes a village to get things done, and we all really need to pull and rely on each other. So if you're new to Tyler, you will quickly learn that we have some fabulous community partners who really, really support our kids. If you got that blue backpack full of supplies at the beginning of the year, most of them, kindergarten added a little extra things, but most of those supplies in the backpacks themselves were all donated from our partners this year. So just one of the many things they do for us. But I do a variety of other things. If you have a need, like if you need additional school supplies, if you need additional resources for your child at home, this might be more applicable to as we get into the year. If you need more books for your child at home, any of those at-home resources, anything that you could use to really strengthen that at-home learning, that's where I come in, hooking you up with resources in the community, giving you, we have a wealth of books at school that have been donated, things like that. The best way to reach me, I do have a website, and actually on the front of your child's agenda, there's a little sticker with my little Bitmoji and QR code, but it's tylerfamilies.com. And if you go to that website, it has all my information. And at the bottom of that front page, there's all my contact info as well if you'd like to email or call. I will say calling isn't the most reliable option this time because, as you can see, I'm at home part of the time. So email is the most effective. But each of your teachers are also really great at keeping me in the loop too. So you can always say to them, you know, could you hook me up with Miss Killian, have a question about XYZ. But that was a long spiel, but I'll just say, welcome to Tyler, welcome to kindergarten if you've already been at Tyler, and just my total hats off to you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for putting in the hard work that it takes to make this learning at home thing work. We really, really appreciate you guys being part of this team. Back to you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you so much, Ms. Killian. So like I said, like she said, I didn't say it. Ms. Killian is a wealth of knowledge and resources. So please don't hesitate or, you know, feel like you're imposing by reaching out to her. So I did put that website, tylerfamilies.com, in the chat box here on Zoom, just so, you know, if you guys want to copy that into a web browser and check it out, you can. So now we just want to open the floor and touch base with you guys. We want to know how you're doing, if you have any questions, concerns, if there's anything you need help with now that we're 3 days into virtual learning. We want to hear from you guys because, like I said, this has to be a two-way street here. So if you have a question, please feel free to ask. Yes. And I think if all scholars will have a period of time here in the beginning of the year where we're figuring out what works for, you know, it's when we're doing whole group, we need to kind of, you know, we'll be adjusting throughout the next couple weeks to see what works, because this is, none of the kindergarten teachers have taught this way before. You know, where it's a lot more challenging to reach out and get to know kids virtually. So we will continue improving and changing. And so we are definitely open to any feedback. So thank you.
Yeah, I just didn't want it to be disruptive to you to see us doing something.
I trust you.
Maybe not necessarily completely different, but you know.
Yeah, I trust your judgment, especially when it comes to your child. So,
okay.
So yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Any other questions, concerns? I know there's a lot of at-home learning kind of things that you guys are expected to do after Zoom meetings or before Zoom meetings. I guess if you're in the afternoon session, does everybody understand all of those expectations in terms of the apps we're going to use, the independent work? I just want to make sure I don't want to go over it if you guys already know, but I will go over it if you don't know. No?
I do have something. I'm Keenan, Caleb, and Corinne's mom. I'm a parent that have three babies that go to your school. Is there a way that I can push their homework back until like Monday? It's a lot trying to get everybody, because they learn at different paces. To get now, my other baby is crying.
Yeah. So
is there a way that I can is there a way I can get it to where I can do it by Monday instead of it's due today? And I have three of them, and it's a whole lot. Kennedy, please.
So I can speak to the kindergarten assignments. I don't know how much I can speak to the first grade assignments. But in terms of kindergarten, I'm just going to say, and I don't know if this is right, so Dr. Johnson and Ms. Onide can put their earmuffs on. The expectation is for 4 days of at-home learning stuff with the apps and the other things. So I'm going to say every day I would recommend reading with your child. But then if you need those 4 days to do those other things, you can split it up. So like you can use Friday, Saturday, Sunday as some work days for Corinne. I have no issue with it. The only things that have due dates for my class for kindergarten are some of the like Flipgrid videos, which I already saw she did, which was adorable. So thank you. So like, we're going to be flexible on the due dates, I think, as a kindergarten team, because it's a lot, especially everybody all at once starting this week. So, you know, you can do, as long as you get it done when you get it done, it's fine. Does that make sense?
And
So-
Ms. Williams, if I could just chime in, you're going to hear a lot of us this year talk about mastery, and especially this season. And basically what that means is we want our kids to get the content, whatever that looks like. And sometimes that means for families, we have to be flexible, like you said, with family dynamics and situations going on. And so we get that. This is not an easy time. And so we are going to be flexible. And I'm going to say that for every single grade level. So, if there's any concerns like that, please reach out to the teacher and know that direction they're going to be given from leadership is that we will be flexible with families to make sure they get the opportunity to do the work and master content. Because otherwise, we're just checking off a box. And that's not what we want to do here at Tyler. We want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to work with their family dynamics to learn the content.
And also to bounce off that, I would say just prioritize reading with your children. I know that's a lot for, all three of those little busy ones, but, if, even if one of the older boys reads to Corinne, that actually counts. So put that on the reading log. If Keenan wants to read to Corinne at one point, write it down. It counts. It all counts. Them reading to you, you reading to them reading to each other. It all counts. So it doesn't have to just be you or their dad sitting with them, reading with them. Okay. So, but I would definitely prioritize the reading at home, just because that you can't do too much reading. So yeah, that was a good question though. Thank you. Any other lingering questions? And somebody.
I have a question. I don't know if I can.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
I wanted to piggyback off of what the other mom said. How you doing? Excuse me. I see that you showed us how to get on Clever and how to do that app, but I wasn't necessarily sure how we were supposed to do the other assignments. Because I see that there's that they have to read every day, and that's not the issue. But when it comes to other assignments, I wanted to know if we're submitting it like the older ones, because I have a fourth grader as well, and we're still learning how to submit her assignments online. We don't have to save them and everything like that. But for kindergarten, I wasn't sure how the assignments will work for them. Is it the same format?
So once I feel like we'll hear from the other teachers here in a second. So we are using Google Classroom like the others, all of the grade levels. So depending on the assignment, you will submit it through Google Classroom. However, most of the kindergarten assignments, I would say, actually don't need too much to be done outside of so my class this week was assigned to do a Flipgrid video. So they took a quick video of them talking, and that was it. So in terms of, we don't have a lot of paper, pencil homework assignments in kindergarten because we understand the challenge of getting that and turning it in. So I don't know if one of the other teachers wants to speak to that. Anybody?
Yeah, most of our things are you're online on an app, so there's not really anything to turn in, unless it's something like the Flipgrid that Ms. Williams did. But most of our things, there's not really any way to turn them in. That's either us seeing them do things online, or if we want you to take a picture of something they did, we'll let you know.
Okay, that's the other question I was going to ask. Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and if we want you to take a picture of something to turn it in, it'll be for like one assignment, and the teacher will let you know, so you'll know when that is the expectation. Are there any other questions? That was a really good one. Thank you, Ms. Reynolds. Okay. Yes. Oh, give me some. If you come up with any questions, all of the teachers have multiple ways to contact us. There's Class Dojo, there's Google Classroom. Most of us you can text or call at any point. Send us an email. We're trying to keep the lines of communication super open. So if there's anything that we can help you troubleshoot or any resources you need, just reach out. Because this is a challenge for everybody. So, and right now the plan is that we will have an information meeting every week. So we'll share some more tips and tricks next week. Talking about some of the apps. We were going to go over some of the Splash Learn stuff to make sure everybody knows how to log into that. So for next week, and just getting all of that kind of stuff in your hands so that you are ready to go. So if nobody has any questions, then we could end our meeting here. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate all that you are doing to support your scholars. We see it, and it's huge. So thank you. I know that all of us feel that. We see all the work you're putting in. So thank you. All right. Well, enjoy your weekend, and we will see all those smiling faces on Monday morning. All right. Bye, friends.
Bye. Thank you.